Alright, let's get this out the way. You've heard protein, you've heard omega-3, iron, you've heard of vitamin D, and then there's choline. And most people wouldn't know choline if it hit them in the face with a spade. Yet it's here running the show behind your memory, your focus, and even your liver. And guess what? A ton of us are skating through life low on it. Let me be clear, this isn't a nice to have nutrient. This one is essential. The kind of build your brain, keeps your body out the gutter essential. And unless you're tracking it, spoiler alert, you're probably not getting enough. Even in the UK where I live. Because NHS data, the National Health Service, for anyone who doesn't know what the NHS is, shows that most adults don't even meet the recommended AI, adequate intake, not the robots that are going to take over the world. And in the US, I think we all know it's going to be worse. With studies showing that only 8% of Americans hit their daily recommended intake of choline. That's a whole lot of brains running on empty. And I mean, I'm just connecting the dots here. So now before you tell me, Callum, but I eat healthy. Doesn't matter. You could be smashing your greens, ticking the macro box, eating tofu like it's your job, and you can still be short on this, especially if you're plant-based. Now don't worry, I'm not out here trying to guilt trip us back into eating eggs. I'm not going to try to convince anybody to eat liver. Just here to show you how to do things properly. Now your nutrition without the bullshit. So for all you new here, I'm Callum Weir, your plant-based nutritionist, nutrition columnist, and host of Plant Fueled. Welcome back, legends. So you've probably seen Paul Saladino run around supermarkets shouting at people, where do you get your choline from? For those who don't know who that is, the carnivore guy. And you know what he doesn't do? Give you the nuance and hope people falls for his shit. So why should we care about choline? What's it even doing for the body? Apart from having a name that sounds like it should be on the periodic table. For starters, it's your body's project manager. It helps make acetylcholine. Definitely didn't say that one right. A neurotransmitter, and without that your thoughts are going to be like trying to load up Netflix on a dial-up connection in 2025. The stuff controls your memory, your learning, your focus, and even muscle contraction. So it's kind of a big deal. It also stops your body and your liver being a storage unit in your body for fat. So no choline means your body starts hoarding fat like it's a zombie apocalypse. And that's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And it's on the rise in a lot of people that don't drink. Oh, and if you're pregnant, or planning to be pregnant, choline helps to develop the baby's brain, spinal cord and neural tube development. A lot like folate. But unlike folate, choline barely ever gets a mention. Kind of like the overlooked middle child of the nutrition world. Here's where it gets savage. Because your body can make a bit of it, but nowhere near enough of it, especially to meet your daily needs. Kind of like saying that you don't need a job because you found a tenner in your coat pocket. Technically true, but useless in real life. Most people don't know what choline is, let alone that they're walking around low in it. But you could walk into a gym, you could walk into any gym and walk up to any gym bro and ask them where they're getting their choline from. And most of them would probably be like, is that pre-workout? And while that may sound like a joke, it's a huge problem. In Hanes data, you know, the big American nutrition survey tells us how the population are eating. I found that 90% of Americans don't even meet the required intake. Not vegans, not plant-based, not paleo, not keto. People. Just people. Pregnant people. Athletes. Elite athletes. Fitness coaches. Your Uncle Dave. Almost everyone. And the ones that are eating the cleanest, they're often the ones missing it the most. Why, you may ask? Well, choline isn't that food that you see getting love from Instagram. You don't see anybody posting about it. You don't see anybody saying, oh my god, smash my tofu and shiitake mushroom bowl. Oh, I've hit my choline needs. You didn't. It's always protein. Always protein for some reason. And your oat berry almond milk green smoothie basically has zero, so that's not even gonna do it for you. If you're plant-based, if you're vegan, here's the deal. You're not doomed, we're not doomed, so don't panic. But you are at higher risk, because most choline foods in the Western diet come from liver, eggs, maybe a tiny bit of fish. But with vegan, that's off the table. And also if you train hard, that also increases your choline need also. Because your body burns through it. And your body needs that to make acetylcholine, which fires up your muscles. Train, the more you deplete. So the more you do your curls, the more you drink your AG1 smoothie, not gonna help, doesn't count. This isn't plant-based people are broken. This is most humans are undershooting it. Athletes and vegans, we're gonna stitch up a bit more. Right, so let's talk numbers, because everybody loves a little RDI, which most of us cling to as gospel. But the problem is half the recommended intakes are built like IKEA furniture. It looks solid on the outside, but they're held together by your guesswork. And the AI for choline was set by the Institute of Medicine in 1998. Sits around 550 micrograms for a man, 425 micrograms for a woman. And the wildest part of that is that's not based on the optimal health outcome. It's based on the minimum amount not to ruin your liver. So yeah, the bar's low. The bar's pretty damn low. Don't wreck your liver equals good enough. But even worse, those numbers were pulled from a few short studies. They got a bunch of men, waited until they created liver damage with lack of choline, and then tried to reverse it by giving them choline. That was the science back then. They broke people, fixed it, and then called that the baseline. And now that may have passed as nutritional science back then, in the 90s, but now it's 2025. That's like setting your fitness goals to not falling over when you stand up. Ain't exactly thriving. And let's not forget about performance. Because performance isn't always about macros. It's about function, energy, cognition, recovery, and choline plays a vital role in every single one of those. Low levels, brain fog, brain fog. Slow reactions, feeling like your body's in first gear. So while the RDA might be keeping your liver happy, it won't be cutting it for an athlete, a lifter, stressed out parents, or anyone who really gives a damn about their own brain work. Plant-based athletes, the margins are tighter. Or the problem is vague advice. Eat whole foods, you'll be fine. And yeah, before any of you point it out, I have said that in the past. But I've also learned from the past. Things evolve. Science changes over time. People's minds change. Eating whole foods and you'll be fine is a line you'll hear from somebody who's read half a nutrition blog from 2005 and don't think they're a nutritionist. And listen, I love whole foods. I'm a whole food advocate. I live for the whole foods. My entire kitchen could double as a farmer's market. But when it comes to choline, those whole foods don't always mean golden ticket. Let's be clear, I'm plant-based. I've cut out eggs, liver, fish. So I've cut out what some may say are the richer sources. And before anybody comes at me with fear-mongering, it's just basic nutritional math. So what's left on a plant-based diet? You've got soybeans, tofu. Decent block of firm tofu, 65 to 80 micrograms per 100 grams. Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli. I mean, you would need to eat a whole forest to get your recommended daily allowance, but they contribute. Quinoa has it. Almonds, peanuts, peanut butter, they're handy. Wheat germ. Now, that's quite the overachiever, but let's be real, no one's mainlining wheat germ. It's 2025, and unless we're building a recipe book from 1972, I know no one has ever eaten it. Don't get me wrong, you can meet your targets, but let's not pretend it's going to be easy. Let's not pretend it's simple. It's like trying to win F1 in a go-kart. Doable, but really need a good goddamn strategy and to know where your fuel is coming from. And that's where intentionality matters. Because if you don't track, you don't measure, and you don't know where your nutrients are coming from, you're not thriving on a plant-based diet. You're just vibing with plants and hoping for the best. And that's where people that are nailing their nutrition are secretly underperforming. All right, sorry, let's get real for a second. You've dialed in your training. You're eating your oats, smashing your tofu, eating your lentil pasta. You're doing your mobility drills, but your brain feels like it's on a 3-second delay. As I said, it's not just nice to have. It's your brain and body's go-between. It's a neurotransmitter involved in muscle contractions, coordination, reaction speed. Basically, every time your brain says, lift this weight, and then your body actually going along and doing it. That sharpness you have on a great training day, like, snap. That muscle connection, that's choline doing its thing. And without enough of it, you're just adding friction. You're asking your body to perform the nutritional equivalent of a frayed cable. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Functional Nutrition, choline, found that choline levels drop during endurance events. No surprise. And can lead to slower reaction times, decreased focus, and reduced performance. So if you're doing something like CrossFit, right, no one's doing CrossFit anymore, high rocks, jiu-jitsu, pushing hard in the gym, any sport really, don't know why they came to mind. You want that system primed. That's not niche science. It's just the difference between you feeling off on your workouts, plus hitting that flow state. Look, I'm not here to fluff this with some dramatic B-roll of some guy benching 200 kilograms while Eye of the Tiger is playing in the background to prove it. It's just facts. It's just facts. Just giving your brain the raw materials to focus. Fire and follow through. Don't know if follow through was the right word, but you're self-sabotaging. Stop looking for a pre-workout that makes your ears tingle and look after your nutrition first. You want to feel elite, perform elite, think elite, dial in your nutrition. This is where most people get defensive. And let's not muck about. If you're vegan or plant-based and you haven't thought about choline, you're not a bad vegan. You're just like most people. And being most people isn't the bar we're aiming for. And also not a vegan problem. If only 8% of Americans are hitting their AI, it's an omni problem. It's a world problem. It ain't a you problem. It's a problem in general. You just need to own the lifestyle. You've decided to go plant-based. Be proud, but also be clued up. Okay, so we're not going to eat 12 cups of cauliflower. We ain't going to do it because we'll be farting into orbit. And you'll still be scraping by with choline. No one wants to live like that, so let's build a strategy. Not kale, smoothies and prayers. Let's start with the heavy hitting soybeans, tempeh, tofu, edamame. 140, 145 micrograms per cup. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not steak level. But decent enough for something that doesn't move. Chuck in a bit of quinoa, amaranth, wheat germ, and then we're building layers. We're compounding interest. If you want a supplement, yeah, supplement. Yeah, I said it. No shame in that game whatsoever. But you can be Whole Foods till the cows come home. Or don't come home. They ain't coming home. But if your blood work is wrecked, you are just a walking ideology. So you have acetylcholine and alpha GPC. 2 supplements that actually get absorbed. And they do the job, especially if you're an athlete, pregnant, or just want your brain to function past 60. And no, you don't get bonus points for suffering through undernourishment because supplements aren't natural. You know what's also not natural? Wi-Fi, a blender, choline deficiency in 2025. Your health is the recipe. You yourself are the missing ingredient. Fix the dish. If you're deliberately cutting the main source of nutrition and then complaining you feel like crap, not a mystery. It's a maths problem. One that you just didn't solve. So bottom line, put a choline plan into place. Be intentional or don't. But if you're not going to be intentional, enjoy losing the plot halfway through a Zoom call and then blaming it on Mercury in retrograde. It's not nice to have. It's not a random trivia question. Fundamental for your liver, your brain, your functionality, your mood. And all this is riding on whether you get enough. It's not sexy. It's just under-discussed, non-negotiable in the system. If you're vegan, you're plant-based. You're not doomed, you're not deficient by default, but you are responsible. But choosing a dietary pattern that removes the top source of choline out of the diet means we need to intentionally put it back in. That's power. You didn't come here to blindly follow a label. You came here to be performance-focused, food-focused, nutrition-focused, and energy-driven life, which means taking stock of the things that are missing. Whole foods with supplements if needed. Is data, not guesswork. But if you're out here trying to crush a workout, smashing PBs, running a business, raising a family, just trying to stay sharp and focused, let's not trip over the basics. This is grown-up nutrition. Not sexy, not clickbait, but it works. You've got one shot of this body, go nourish it. It's a privilege, so here's your move. Audit your intake. Use chronometer. Get your bloods done. Have the conversation. Make the tweaks. Fuel like you mean it. Legend status isn't built on perfection. It's built on consistency. Built on clarity. If you want a nutrition guide, if you want a free nutrition guide that breaks this down, but smaller, along with a ton of other nutrients, hit the link below. Get that download. I mean, it's free, why not? Also, turns out that YouTube knows you better than I do. Funny that. And they think you're going to like this video next. Go on, click it. Until next time, peace out, peace and plants.